So a question that comes up from time to time is, why does workers' comp want me to resign my job before we'll enter into a compromise and release? So what I want to do in this video is talk about why the insurance company wants that. I'm not going to say whether you should or should not resign. That's beyond the scope of this video. And you really should talk to an attorney before you make that decision because there can be some implications. I'll go over those in a minute. But here is why. So we know there's two ways to resolve a workers' compensation claim informally. One is going to be stipulations with request for award. They pay out the permanent disability every 2 weeks. Future medical care stays open and everything keeps going. The other way is a compromise and release. So insurance company pays a lump sum, and 99 times out of 100, they close out future medical care. So what the insurance company is going to do is write you one check for any remaining permanent disability. The video is aimed at injured workers without an attorney, so there's no attorney's fees to withhold. And they're going to pay you any closure value, and they're going to pay out some sort of number to close out liability for future medical care. So what comes up from time to time, you get hurt at work, time goes on, you haven't returned to work, and the insurance company says, we'll do a compromise and release, but you have to resign. And injured workers have asked me, and I've had questions on this channel before, why do they want me to resign? So let's go through it. I'm going to go John Madden here with a chart. So we have an injury in 2019. You get hurt at work. Life goes on, you keep treating, everything goes about, and in 2022, you resolve your claim with stipulations with request for award. So future medical care stays open, you stay at your job, or you go to another job. So either way, but you can stay at your job. No reason to be forced to resign or be asked to resign. So you keep on working at that job, life goes on, and in 2023, you have another injury to the same body part. In that case, chances are it's going to be the same insurance company, the same third-party administrator, but you'll continue to get future medical care under the original award, and you're going to have medical care for the new injury as well, but it's with the same body part. Let's say you strain your back in 2019. You stip the case in 2022 with open future medical care for your back, and then you have another back injury. It doesn't change the exposure for the insurance company because they're already providing medical care for your back, so they'll just keep on providing medical care. Now let's go to a compromise and release. So, new chart. 2019, you get hurt at work, low back, let's say. Life goes on, you get treated, and in 2022, you enter into a compromise and release. So insurance closes out the books on you. That case, they pay out your future medical care, so the insurance company has no more liability. Do you resign or not? Here's where the rubber meets the road for the insurance company. If you don't resign in 2022 and you have a new injury in 2023, now the insurance company is going to be liable for your medical care again for your low back. So here's the problem. The insurance company has already paid you in 2022 for all of your future medical care for your low back, any reasonable expectation of what's going to be needed, some agreed upon amount. So they've paid for all of that. If you keep working there, now the insurance company is liable again, and they're going to have to start paying for all of your back injury care. So obviously from the insurance company's standpoint, now they're paying twice. What the insurance company wants, when you sign that CNR in 2022, the insurance company wants you to resign because then you won't go on and have a new injury with the same employer. Insurance company doesn't care if you have an injury with another employer next year because they've washed their hands of you. They're done with it. They don't care what happens, whether you get treatment, don't get treatment. None of that matters because they've closed that file. There's closure value there. But if you don't resign and you keep working, they can end up with the same liability, paying twice for your medical care. That's why insurance companies want a resignation. So now what type of other issues can come up? It is possible some insurance companies will enter into a compromise and release in certain cases. and still allow you to keep on working there. What will happen, let's say you had a very minor injury, there's no anticipated future medical care, and you haven't treated in some time, resolving your case. The insurance company may pay a small amount of money just so they can close the file because there's no expectation of future medical care. And if there's a new injury, probably be something different, some different type of injury, different type of treatment that's going to be needed. So that's one scenario, but relatively rare. Another scenario is employers from time to time do change insurance companies. So let's say, back to the handy dandy flowchart, you get hurt in 2019. In 2022, the employer enters into a compromise and release with you and doesn't require a resignation because maybe in 2021, the employer changed workers' compensation carriers. They switched from State Fund to Hartford, Lord knows. But if that's the case, the insurance company for this original 2019 injury, they don't care if you get injured again in the future because they're not on the coverage. So in those rare circumstances, when the workers' comp carrier changes between basically your injury and the time that you settle, they will enter into a compromise and release and not ask for a resignation because they don't have liability for any ongoing injuries. They're off the books and there's another insurance company that's liable. Some other things to consider. A resignation can have an impact on collecting unemployment benefits. So if you are planning on filing for unemployment because now you don't have a job, keep in mind that may be impacted because you have now voluntarily resigned your employment. And the employer may contest that. The EDD may say, why are we going to pay you unemployment? You quit your job. One thing to consider. Another thing to consider is some employees have civil cases going on. So whether it be for some sort of constructive wrongful termination, discrimination type cases, it can have an impact if you voluntarily resign. So it's outside the scope of this video. Really, my goal is just to explain why the insurance company wants a resignation. But if you're going to go forward with voluntary resignation, my primary recommendation is, one, you probably should reach out to an attorney for workers' compensation. If you're entering into a compromise and release, at least make sure that you're getting a reasonable settlement. An attorney may be able to do much better for you, protect your interests. Also, if you're going to enter into a voluntary resignation, in that case, you also probably want to reach out to an employment law attorney to find out what other types of remedies may be impacted, any types of lawsuits that you may be contemplating, and how the voluntary resignation and the wording of that resignation may impact any other actions. So there's a lot that's going on there, but that's why the employer or insurance company wants the resignation. And I'll also add, it's not the employer necessarily that wants the resignation. It's the insurance company that wants the resignation. That may not apply for some large self-insured employers because the money all comes from the same pot. But if they have an insurance company, it's the insurance company that wants that resignation more so really than the employer. If you have other questions, drop us a comment down below or send us an email. And if you like this video, hit the like button.